Good afternoon, everybody. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I am here today to open 2 new KnitPicks packages. I realized as I set this up for right now that technically 1 more package is expected to arrive today, 1 tomorrow, and then 1 on Friday. I have placed a lot of KnitPicks orders recently. So I will have a lot of packages to open. Welcome! I'm so glad you guys could join me. I will probably save up a bunch of the other packages that are going to arrive for early next week. Unless I'm desperate for the yarn because I need some more bases to dye. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff here because part of the reason why there are so many packages was that in the last couple of weeks, KnitPicks had a lot of awesome sales. They had the green yarn sale, a sock yarn sale, a 15% off everything sale. All of those are done now, unfortunately, but it meant that I was able to get a lot of yarn at a really good price. So yeah, that worked out for me and it works out for you because that means I get to film some new videos and I've got the materials to do it. KnitPicks is having a book sale right now, so books are 40% off. So if there's one you've been looking for, then you can find one. Hi guys! I'm so glad that you could join me today. So I wonder if I can figure out which package is which. I don't see, yeah. All right, I have no idea what's in which package and what I ordered when because, yeah, seriously, I think 5 orders in maybe 8 days is probably my record. But I was so excited when Stroll came back in stock and, well, Wool of the Andes yarn came back in stock, and so I didn't want to risk anything because it said I was stalking the website, and so I saw things start to come back in stock. But sometimes when they were first entering the inventory, it would show up and say low inventory. And I was like, man, I know that from my phone call with them at one point that they had over almost 10,000 units of bare Stroll coming in. So I was like, uh-oh. But so when I saw the low stock with Wool of the Andes, I was like, oh, maybe this is temporary. So I rushed to do that before the Stroll showed up back as in stock. So that's part of why it's disorganized with many orders. But the $50 for minimum order in the US for free shipping means that I didn't have shipping costs. And I think that I know some of you are international. I forget the dollar amounts, but there's free shipping options also for the UK, for Canada, and for Australia. So that is cool. But let's open up this first box. Very carefully, so that way I do not cut any yarn. But with spring break coming up next week, I have to do a lot of yarn dyeing tomorrow. All right, we've got the packing slip, which I'm not going to look at closely, but I see a little hint in here that tells me which box this one is. But first our little card. So it looks like that there is a Mad Lib on the back, so you could have someone fill this out with you, which I'm not going to read it because I'll hold it up so you could read it if you wanted to. But I'm not going to read it because maybe I will do this later with Keith and Lucas, and I think that he might find that amusing. Okay, so the first thing that I have in here, and oh, that's so funny. The first thing I have are 2 skeins of Super Tough Puff in Mint. This is one of the yarns that KnitPicks is discontinuing, and so if there's still some on the website, then it'll be on clearance, in the clearance section, because they were making space for some of the new yarn launches. But it's a jumbo weight single ply yarn that, I don't think, it almost could be drafted and respun. It seems very much like pencil roving, but it does have twist in it, so therefore drafting it would be kind of hard. But my thought was to over dye this with something, and I will admit there's a lot of green, a lot of mint green in here because I love the shade, and it's something that I think would over dye beautifully. And I know I'm going to have some kind of mint chocolate chip dyeing adventure at some point. So that is, but when I open it up, it's look at the stringing, or bounce back of whatever this yarn is that's holding it together. It's not stretchy. It's just the way that the twist is. And so that's amusing me. All right. What else do I have in here? All right. I have 4 balls of Gloss DK in mint. So this is the DK weight, 30, I think it's 30% silk, 70% merino wool. And part of the reason why I got 4 of these is that this ended up being cheaper with the green yarn sale than the bare yarn. And so I thought that it would be fun for a few reasons. We have some 50-gram balls that we can play around with in a variety of ways. We can play with some over-dyeing silk to see how colors spread out. But also, you know, since it's cheaper, it's another way to get some silk wool blends to play with. And yeah, so I mean, I think that if you are looking for bare yarns and you come across a color, especially a pale color, something like this, it's a really good candidate for over dyeing and playing around with. So you don't have to limit yourself to white yarns. And then because I had to, and also because Stroll was on back order and that made me sad, but I have 2 skeins of mint in the Stroll. As you know, Stroll is one of my favorite yarn bases. It's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Hi guys! And yeah, I mean, so what? I now have 3 different yarn bases all in mint. You know, jumbo 100% wool, wool silk, and then the superwash nylon blend. So yeah, we'll definitely have some over dyeing coming up, and this will be a lot of fun to play with. Speaking of over dyeing, the yarn that is on sale this month is for the month, what's this month? March, is Dishy. And this is 100% cotton yarn, just cotton, and every month KnitPicks has a yarn of the month that's on sale, and this month it was Dishy. I thought it would be fun to get a variegated cotton to over dye to see, you know, how the different colors would absorb, and I haven't decided quite what kind of dye I want to use to over dye this, but I have 100 grams, so in theory I could divide it into 2 and use both tie dye and then a RIT dye or something. But I thought it would be fun to over dye the variegated cotton just to see, you know, how deep the dyes are, and if it will completely overtake the colors. And yeah, it's just another way to play with dye and yarn. But the fun thing for me with doing some over dyeing stuff is that, again, like, I know some people have trouble finding bare yarn locally or in their big box stores, and so there are things that you can get that you can dye if you want to play around with it and you can't order online. And then finally, I have 2 more skeins of the Chroma Twist fingering, which unfortunately it's no longer available and isn't coming back, but it is available in the worsted weight version. This is the 70% superwash wool, 30% nylon, and I got some because it went on clearance because they were saying goodbye to this line. It's a 3-ply that they would do in different colors, so you would get these like twisted yarns. And I now have, goodness, 6, 8 of them to play around with, but it's so soft that it was hard to pass up because when it was on clearance, it was a good price. But I haven't checked recently. There was, and I do have in my stash, some bare super tough puff. Yeah, you're still using the red heart and soul for dyeing. Yeah, I still haven't, I mean, I could find it online, but I've been looking for it locally. I'm keeping an eye out. So anyway, this was our first order, which was a lot of stuff to over dye and then some clearance bare yarns. And then, now that I'm picking this one up, I think I know what's in here, but I don't remember. And this is kind of the fun of saving them up to open at once. Now, my mail carrier doesn't usually come until later in the afternoon, but there's a chance I'm like waiting because sometimes a package comes at this moment, and that would be hilarious. But I don't know if it's a package that's big enough that it would come like by the truck versus my mail carrier. But, ooh, do I have a little slip? Okay. I'm trying to see if I have a little card in here. I've got my packing slip. No little fancy card. Okay. So first, oh, that's funny. I was really confused for a second. Okay, in the first plastic bag, there's 2 different skeins of yarn that are 2 different bases. And I was confused because I was looking at them and I was like, wait, one is a lot thinner than the other. What is in here? So I've got Capra DK, which is the 85% merino, 15% cashmere yarn. And it is so soft. I made one of my designs out of this base, the coat check scarf, which is a tube with buttons, so that way you can put your mittens inside it to hang your mittens in your scarf on a hanger. Yeah, I haven't done a spotlight on that one yet, but maybe that one will come up soon. But it is so soft, and I was so excited when they released this one. Yes, Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool is something that I've used a lot, and I enjoy that one too. I like dyeing the twists because it's fun to over dye with the light, with like 1 light strand and 3 dark, or 3 light strands and 1 dark. So I have more of it than I'm going to play around with. But yeah, this is really soft. And I mean, if you're interested in trying to shop KnitPicks, the nice thing about them is I order some of my yarn bases from them in bulk. So I'll buy 20 skeins at one time and I'll get a 15% off discount off of the bulk purchase. But you can buy all the bare yarns individually as well, which is a way that I think that if you're just starting and you want to try some things out, it's nice that you can get single skeins and they have a wide variety of bare yarns. But in addition to the Capra, I have some Capretta. And the Capretta is, so it's 80% fine merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And so I have a bunch of both of these. I mean, the Bare Capra, so they had the sock yarn sale. The Bare Capra was 40% off, which was ridiculous because I don't think that this counts as a sock yarn. Whatever the reason, I was happy to get some. And I knew, since so many things came back into stock last week, that they had all these sales to move a lot of inventory, and it worked on me because I ordered a lot of stuff. Let's see how many I have of each one, because I do not really remember. Okay, so that's another Capra. Nope, that's Capretta. Capra. All right, so I got 4 Capras. And so this is the DK weight merino cashmere blend that is soft and yummy. I have only dyed a cashmere blend with sprinkles so far, so I'm not sure if the cashmere content will absorb dye slower, like we've seen with silk and with alpaca, and so that absorbs slower. But this is like a fluffy soft cloud, and I am very excited to play with it. The Capretta is also really soft. It is not quite as soft as the Capra, and maybe, I mean, I know I read the percentages, maybe because this is 15% cashmere versus 10, it's still very soft and would be very warm. But just for like the love of feel, this one, the Capra, I think is like a step up. But I do have in my stash, like my personal stash, I have some, I think, like silver and teal Capretta that I had been intending to design this pair of fingerless mitts for ages. And I have them designed except for, so I've got the thumb and the base, it's a colorwork pattern. And I think I'm just missing like one little spot on the palm. And that's what I'm waiting for to like resolve. And so that design's been hibernating for a while. But yeah, that was what came in the mail, I guess, late last week. And so, yeah, I have, there's a lot more coming. I think at least, definitely 80 and plus, 80 plus skeins. And I think there's at least 5 sock blanks on their way because those were on sale, and that was really awesome. And yeah, I mean, if you're interested in buying some KnitPicks, I've got my affiliate links are in the item description, in the video description. And so those links will take you to their website, and it just gives me, it tells them that I referred the sale to them. And so that is one way that is always helpful. But if you want to support me on a more personal level, you can also check out my Patreon, which is sort of like a membership subscription and a way to support ChemKnits on a monthly basis. And you can get some really, really cool rewards, like early access to some videos and behind the scenes sneak peeks. And I popped a link to that in the chat, but there's also a link to that in the video description. Yeah. Well, no, if they got 9,900 skeins of Stroll, I did not even come close. So now I'm really curious to see when it goes on back order again. Not that I mean, they could get another shipment in there. So I'm just very, very curious on I wish I had a window into their inventory because that would be fun. It would be fun to see. But do you guys have any questions or anything? I'm happy to take some time and answer some things or hang out, but yeah, there's a lot going on over here in Casa de ChemKnits. We've been busy, but you know, it was funny because with these sales, each sale that they had, I was holding out as long as possible because I was waiting for Stroll to come back in stock. And I was like, I know I'm placing an order when the Stroll comes in, and maybe once I place that big order, it'll limit the other stuff that I get. But the prices were good enough and the sales were big enough that it was worth buying some other stuff. Can you recommend a good acid dye? So the kinds of acid dyes I have used so far are Jacquard. I've used Jacquard acid dyes and food coloring. So food coloring is technically a type of acid dye. Yes, Stroll is absolutely back. Stroll is back. I've got 40 Stroll fingering weight hanks on their way to me. Yeah, so the two I've used, so the two acid dyes I've used so far are Jacquard and then food coloring. But I do have a couple Dharma acid dye colors in my stash, and I have some Dharma acid dyes in my stash, and I know a lot of independent dyers that choose Dharma over Jacquard just because they have a really amazing color palette on their own, but it's also cheaper. So, will I be unraveling the egg whip yarn you dyed in my last video soon? Yes. I am. So I don't think I'm going to be unraveling that in a live stream because I think I want to try to get those videos out faster than that. But the two edited videos from that last live stream will be coming out on, I think they're going to come out on Friday. Today, what I've got exporting right now is the last recap, the overall recap from the entire sock blank special too. So I've got, the recap has pictures of all 21 blanks, a picture from the dyeing process, a picture of the dry blank, and then pictures of it unraveled. So you can kind of have a summary of all of those live streams all at once. I saw a comment popped up and I missed it. No, I don't, as an affiliate, I don't really have when I call KnitPicks, I just call their customer service and chat and see if they have any information for me. But the customer service doesn't really have a ton of information, except they can see, in the one conversation, she told me how many units were coming in. So I got excited. But yeah, no, I think that the customer service people have limited information because there was like a day with Wool of the Andes, the day it was supposed to come back in stock, it then got said it was pushed back 3 months. And so I called and they didn't have any information for me. They're like, if it says 3 months, that's the information they had. But then it came later in stock later that day. So I think that sometimes things start looking a little strange as they're updating the inventory. And so if you're checking like every hour like I was, then you might notice some things that look weird. But yeah, but that's otherwise like I sometimes notice sales before they announce them because I will just be playing around on their website and I'll see a lot of things that get discounted. But they don't give, some affiliate networks will give like a newsletter to affiliates to like give us an advance notice of an upcoming sale or special or something. Like Craftsy did that when they were going to do their, for like their free weekend and stuff like that. But KnitPicks doesn't really do a newsletter or anything for affiliates. So, yeah, but yeah, I mean, but people, yeah. Yes, so the KnitPicks, yes, they are having their book sale right now. So all of the books are 40% off. The Dishy yarns are 20% off. And there's some colors that are on sale in clearance because they are still clearing out stock. I think that there's another big restock on the 11th of April. It looks like it could happen sooner, it could be pushed back, but there's a lot of, the way that I'm guessing that another big restock is coming is because there's multiple items that have the same date of April 11th. And so that when a bunch of items have the same expected date, then that means that probably a big shipping container or something will be arriving. And then in this last sale, because I had multiple things I was waiting on, I observed that the restock things doesn't happen all at once. It sort of happens slowly over the day. So in real time, I guess, as they enter it into the inventory, it's available online. And so I had one of those days a while ago when I was like, Swish DK is in stock again. And then, so yeah, first of all, the Andes, then Swish, then Stroll. And I think actually that restock might have gone over 2 or 3 days. I mean, it probably takes time to count all the inventory and everything like that. But yeah, I don't actually have any additional insight into the company, just guesswork based on observing them and their patterns. And like, I anticipated the green yarn sale because I knew they had done that the past 2 years. So, and that this year they had done a pink yarn sale in orange and black last October. So that's why sometimes I can predict things based on trends. And then other times I'm completely surprised, like the 15% off sale blew me away. So whenever there's anything that major, I like to pop on and let you guys know because yeah, it's a good time to stock up. But it was a bummer that ended before, I think it was designed to end before the big restock because otherwise I could have used it for some of these bulk purchases. But yeah, so again, I don't have any extra knowledge beyond just a consumer. And like the customer service reps are really friendly though. And so I called once to chat about Stroll versus Felici. And that's where I learned that the yarn, like the fibers are the same. It's just that they're made at different mills. And so that accounts for the difference. And so there's a slight difference in the twist. But otherwise they are pretty similar to one another. So yeah. The things you learn when you call and ask, because we were hypothesizing things, and so I finally was like, well, why don't I call and ask? They usually don't have a long wait when you're trying to call in, so that's helpful. Yeah, but if you want to check out the book sale and stuff, again, my affiliate link is in the video description, and there's a link to my new Patreon, which I launched last week. I don't remember which day. What's today, Monday? It's been less than a week since I launched the Patreon, and the link to that is there should be like a little eye symbol on this video, and so that would take you there, but there's also a link in the video description to that as well. But thank you all for joining me as I unwrapped some of my beautiful, beautiful new squishy yarn. And yeah, stay tuned for the recap, the Sock Blank special recap later tonight, and a lot more fun dyeing videos. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, great afternoon. Bye, guys.